I am back with another impromptu live video. So I have a little bit of time. I've got some baked potatoes in the oven. And I decided to bring on baby Jack Jack because I have not brought him on in a really long time. And so I want to dress him in this cute little outfit. It is a koala baby. It's a size newborn, but it's kind of big. So I'm hoping it'll fit him because he's more of a 0 to 3 month kind of baby. But we're going to try this on him because it looks nice and roomy. And I think it's going to work. So we're going to see how it works. So we have this little koala outfit. It's adorable. You've seen it before, but you know, I reuse stuff on this channel. It's not a one and done. So I use it until I get done with it, and then I either sell it for a great price or I donate it. But this little outfit is a gray and white striped top with little footy pants, and the footies are koalas. When you pop on, just say hi so I can recognize you. And then on the little crossover top, it snaps on the side. It has a moon with a mommy or daddy koala holding a baby koala. And there's little stars and stuff hanging off the moon. It is so cute. So we're going to put that on him. And it also has this little knot hat. So we're going to do that. And first, I'm going to brush his hair. But I thought I would bring a topic tonight. And I want to talk about scams. And if you think scams are ruining our doll hobby, and not just the hobby itself, but like people's trust in one another, even trust in people that they have seen around and that they know. And I'm going to kind of just talk about some scams that have happened in the past and why I feel like that over the years, the things that have happened have contributed to what I feel like is mistrust sometimes, because you just don't know how to take someone. And so I'll wait for some people to hop on and say hello. I've got 10 viewers at the moment, but nobody's saying anything. So just hop on and say hi. That's my friend Tanya, my sis. She's just sent me a pic. I'm going to let her know I'm on live if she wants to join. Hi, Alianis, and Michael, and Henry. Yes, this is a fake baby. The name of my channel is Penny's Doll Diaries. So if you're coming on this channel and wondering what the heck is going on, I am a doll collector. And one of the types of dolls that I collect are realistic lifelike dolls. So I'm not quite sure what you're saying there very much. You Barrios? No one is your Barrio. You want to be your friend. I'm not really sure what that said. Hi, Angela. Angela's Collectibles. Collectible Babies is on. How are you? Hi, Sandra. Once again, why is Sandra's messages always getting retracted? I don't know why it does that, Sandra. Like almost every time Sandra says something, it'll say message retracted. And I don't know why, because I'm not removing it. Hey, sis. There's Tanya. Angela says, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. I was fighting a major allergy headache earlier, but I started feeling better and I got some time before my husband gets home from being gone on an overnight trip for work. So I was like, I'll just do a live and I have this topic because I just kind of been thinking about it and I wanted to talk about it. Hi, baby boy. It's your former mommy. Yes, it's your former mommy, Sandy Dolly. Hi. It said hi. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Alex. Alex said, I'm here in and out. What are your crazy kids up to? Well, right now, they're just kind of chilling, hanging out. And I wanted to show Jack because I have not shown him in a really, really long time and change him to go night night. So, hello. I guess your name stands for thank you so much. Please keep the chat respectful. If you're coming on my channel and you are not a doll collector, but you just happen to come across this live, uh, there are other doll collectors on here as well. So just be respectful. You're free to ask questions about the dolls and the community in a respectful way as much as you would like, but just please refrain from being disrespectful toward the doll community. If dolls are not your thing and that's not what you like, then this is not the live video for you. Yeah, it's dolls. So if you don't like dolls, then don't stay on the live. You can watch something that you are more interested in. So what I want to talk about. Hi, Nikki. My sis Nikki is on. My two wrench ladies are here. So, I do have some moderators. So, like I said, just be respectful. If you don't like dolls, you don't have to be here. Right. Be nice or get out. Christo said, I'm 12. Well, it's nice to meet you, Christo. Yeah, Zeke is laying on the floor nearby. So, you may hear him snoring in and out. And also, Malila is right behind me. But the topic I wanted to talk about is, I've kind of noticed that this is sort of a thing. And I've been a little guilty of it myself because this one lady, when I was buying a Masterpiece doll, she basically scammed me because she took my money and 2 weeks had went by. She still had not shipped my doll. And so she gave one excuse after another. And of course, I made a video calling her out because I did not want any of my friends who were looking at Masterpiece dolls to go to this lady. And a couple of them actually told me, oh my gosh, I was actually considering a couple of her dolls. And I was like, well, it's hit or miss because some people would say this lady gave them their doll, and then other people had the same problem I did. Then she decided to go to eBay, and then it wasn't long. She had a 50% approval rating, and there was all kinds of complaints about her sending the wrong doll, or same problem that I had where they were having to like get their money back because she never sent a doll. But anyways, that kind of made me very suspicious. And so when I bought a Masterpiece doll from another lady on the site and she didn't ship right away, I became suspicious of her. And like several days went by. I'm talking like 5 or 6 days. And so I messaged her and she was, she was nice, but she was also kind of firm. She was like, not everybody is a scammer, Penny. And I'm like, I understand that. I really do. But considering everything that, has just happened with me, now I'm a little suspicious. And she was like, I totally understand. So, my question to everyone is, in those lovely clothes of hers, yikes. What? Oh, yeah. Sandy said, I remember that. And then she disappeared. Well, actually, a lot of the groups kicked her out. That's why she disappeared. There's a couple of groups that she's still in and that she still lists dolls for sale in, which is kind of scary. But yeah, she had the doll dressed like she was, going to go play bridge with her friends, you know, Betty and Imogene or something. I mean, it's just like she's dressed like she's ready to go to the retirement home with a scarf. Like she's 4-year-old size, and she had her dressed in like, I don't know, like a cocktail dress with a scarf. And I'm like, yeah, 4-year-olds don't dress that way. Sorry to tell you. This is one of those kind where you have to like find where the snap goes. The crossovers, they're really cute, but I would not suggest using them with a real baby because they would probably get very aggravated with you. Our reborn dolls are very forgiving because, they don't have feelings and they don't get aggravated. So, but a real baby would be done with me right now. Madge and B, right? Gotta go hang out with Sophia from the Golden Girls. But do you feel like that's made you more suspicious of people, just knowing all the scams and stuff that goes on? And does that make you feel like a little impatient? Or like, say you purchase a doll or something and it doesn't ship that day. Even if you've known the person for a while, does it make you feel some type of way? Or, do you say, oh, it's going to be okay, this person? And also, even if you don't know them, but maybe they're well known in the community, like not on a personal level, but do you kind of get to thinking like, oh my gosh, have I made a mistake? Is this going to be a big deal? And then like when it comes to us as YouTubers, I feel like that we worry that it's going to cause a stink if we say something, like, how it can get sometimes. Like this group will make videos and then that group will make videos in response. And then people are expected to take a side and, you know how it goes. Nikki said, I'm so thankful I haven't been scammed. That's turmoil. Yes, it is. Sandra says, it does with a new doll or seller. I'm always skeptical. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's natural, but at the same time, it's like, I'm like, why does it have to be that way? Like, why can't it just be, why can't the dolls in the community be represented for what they are? And that be that. Alex says, when I sell, I buy, sell, or trade. It's through YouTube, peeps. I haven't taken a risk to ship to no, what? Is that supposed to be no one? Tanya says, yeah, a little bit. That voice in the back of your head. And Alex said, anyone I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, look at that cute boy. Is he not adorable? He says, hey, I'm all ready and comfy. I'm comfy and ready for bed. He needs a lovey. We'll give him a little firefly. This is so cute. My dogs have decided they're going to play. They've been quiet for like 2 hours doing nothing. Sandra says, I got scammed once on a trade. Yeah, and that really sucks. I unless it's somebody that I would knew on a personal basis, I would not do trades. I see people do trades all the time with people that they don't know that well. It's just maybe something like somebody's in the same group as they are or something. And I'm like, I just could not do that, because once you send your doll off, you have to trust that other person to send theirs too. And I wanted to talk about this one lady that was in the community, and she was brought up several times by several community members after this happened. But this lady had, excuse me, puppies. Can y'all like play like in the hallway or something? But anyway, she had a prototype Ramsey, and she put this doll up for sale. And so a lady, and now this woman had a presence on YouTube. She had thousands of subscribers, and she was an active member in the community. And so people trusted her because of that reason. And when she sold this doll, the lady was in Russia. This lady who sold the doll was in the UK. So she sold the doll and convinced the lady who lived in Russia to pay with Western Union. And the lady trusted her and did it. And then she never sent that doll, and she spent all that money, and there was nothing the lady from Russia could do. Nothing. She got the word out there, and she pretty much got shunned in the community. A lot of people got very upset with her over doing that. And she ended up leaving the community. She deleted her channel. And then a few months later, she tried to come back on Instagram under a different name with a different doll. And she never did show herself, but somehow, like, she come under an alias of a different name. And somehow someone found out who she was, and they outed her. And then she ended up deleting her Instagram that she tried to come back with. But of course, that was well known in the community. Do any of you guys remember that? Nicole says, at this point, I'm tired. I've been through so many scams and other shady things. I've gone totally manufactured to guard my peace. I mean, yeah, I can totally understand that. Nikki says, there is that fear a huge amount of money is being sent to someone you don't know. And then Alex said, it is scam season with the holidays approaching. Angela said trades are scary, but thankfully I was fortunate. Well, I'm glad that you had a great experience with trading. Like I said, I can't do it with people I don't know. Like it would have to be one of my close circle of friends to trade. I just couldn't do it with anybody else. Sandy says, he looks amazing. Aw, thank you. He looks so sweet with his little outfit on. He's like, I'm all cozy and ready for bed. And see that little girl back there? She is for sale. And a lot of people, they were confused when I listed her on my wall. I am going to do a role play with her, and I'm going to announce that she is for sale in that video as well. But a lot of people were confused. I had a couple of comments. I caught up on some comments. And Christina from Cuddles by Christina said, oh my goodness, you just got her and you're already selling her? And I was like, oh, well, she was sent to me to sell. Like, I guess she thought that I had purchased her and then immediately was not happy with her or something. And I was like, no. She was sent to me to advertise on my channel. So her purpose for being here is to find a buyer. So I'll say it again in this video, but she is $500 shipped in the U.S. Outside of the U.S., you would have to pay the additional shipping to ship internationally. But I will definitely be doing another video with her. Angela says, turned out we had a mutual friend and both did video in reference until leaving UPS. Well, I mean, that's good. Sandra says, I'm surprised she hasn't sold. Yeah, me too. Angela says, she's beautiful. Yeah, she's a 24-inch baby, and she's painted and rooted to look like a toddler, but she totally pulls it off. Like, she's got that total toddler look. Like, her face is more toddler and everything. Dottie's Daisy said, we have a friend. I want her baby so bad. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Hi, Dottie. Nicole said, I want to adopt her. LOL. I can't, but I want to. Hope she finds an awesome mom. I'm sure she will because she is beautifully done. She is a beautiful baby. Like I said, I'm going to do that role play video with her. And at the beginning of the video, I am going to say this is a role play and this doll is for sale. And I just figured that people could, if I do a role play with her, they can see all the fun things that they can do with her. Nikki said she's beautiful. Thank you. I think so too. Like she's really pretty. She's the Ayana sculpt by Gudrun Legler. And yeah, she's beautifully done. And she's a sweetheart. Like I said, that hair is just gorgeous. I've been good, Dottie. How have you been doing? So I feel like when people see scams like that, it kind of ruins it for everybody else. What do y'all think? What's y'all's opinions, your input on that? Like I feel like it makes people more edgy. I feel like it makes people more kind of in your face. Like I've seen some posts of dolls for sale on Facebook, and the way that they would word it, I would be like, wow, like who TT'd in your Cheerios this morning? you know, like, and I know as a potential buyer, if just me seeing that post, even though I wasn't looking for that particular doll, it was just a real turnoff for me. And I wasn't even looking to buy that doll, but I was like, gosh, why did they word everything like that? But then when I think about it, I'm like, well, there's no telling like what has occurred in the past. I feel like it makes us when we have a bad experience or multiple bad experiences in the past, I feel like it makes us be more on the offense than we normally would be. So sometimes we say things that to someone who's looking at your post for the first time would sound offensive. Like I've looked at something, I'm like, gosh, like the person would be like, all caps, I always imagine when you're all caps, you're yelling. Yeah, it makes some bitter. She is similar to my sweet Layton. Yeah, she is. She does look similar. I think it makes people more aware when they set out to buy and do a lot of investigating to find out as much as possible instead of jumping into it. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. That right there is that should be done anyways. There couldn't be as much scamming going on if so. But yeah, Tanya, I know what you're saying. Like she can pull off that toddler look like your Layton can, even though they're not technically toddlers. But that is nice. But yeah, sometimes I feel like it's kind of ruined everything because everybody is talking about their sales being down, like everybody. I've even talked to some artists that say that the only time they know for sure that they're going to be able to make sales is if they go to doll shows. And so that makes sense because the people are going to the doll shows where they can look at the doll, see the doll, hold the doll, and they know they're leaving with that doll. They're not going to have to wait for it to be shipped. They're not going to worry about how it's handled on the way there. They can literally just go in, see the doll right then and there and pick it up. So I kind of feel like that buying and selling is kind of migrating to doll shows more than someone being able to just say sell straight from their page, from what I've been told. Nikki said, yes, it can. The sale can become very nerve wracking. One, the artist or seller, if someone is not really interested or asks for a bunch of pics and then says that's too much. Right. And I think that's why a lot of people will have such a lengthy post and they list everything. If it's a private group, like a selling group, I understand why people don't want to put prices of dolls like out there publicly because this community already receives a lot of scrutiny and a lot of people don't want people knowing exactly what they pay for their dolls, because it doesn't matter. Somebody else could go spend hundreds of dollars a month on cigarettes and dip and, you know, gummies or whatever. But let us spend that on a doll, and oh my goodness, it's so wasteful. And well, Zeke just laid down on you guys and scooted you forward. And so I understand why, like publicly, they don't want things just listed out there. But I also feel like that causes a lot of discord because buyers don't know what you're asking for the baby until they message and find out. And then if it is too high and they decline, then sometimes the artist will get upset because they feel like their time was wasted. But I'm like, it's kind of a double-edged sword because people need to know the price to know that if it's in their price range. Dottie said that suit is so stinking adorable. Thank you. It actually came with Japheth, but it fits him really good too. And Japheth is a little bit smaller than him. Dottie said, I was watching your live and it kicked me out and it started over. Oh, I don't know. YouTube can do some silly stuff, let me tell you. I don't even try to understand it. Like one day, I logged onto YouTube and I messaged both Jeannie and Tanya and I was like, do you have any like buttons? And they go and look and they're like, yeah, I've got like buttons. I had no like buttons on anybody's videos. I could not like anyone's videos. And I was like, what the heck? And then the next day, everybody had like buttons again. Like, I don't even know what that was about. I have no clue. And then another person, I forgot who that was. I sent them the same thing. And they were like, well, maybe you were liking too many videos. And I'm like, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Is like, I mean, it's the first thing I do. When I jump on someone's video, I hit the like button. It's just what I do. But I was like, but I haven't even been on YouTube for a while. Like it was, I go on those little hiatuses where like, I get super busy. I have things to do. And then, when you just don't feel like making a video, I don't get on there and make a video because I don't want to be making a video just to make a video because my heart wouldn't be in it. Vicky said, exactly. Telling the process helpful. I think so too. Nicole said, I think people perceive dolls as toys, even aren't dolls. Yeah. And then when they see you're paying that much, they're like, why would you pay that for that? And they're not realizing that you're paying for a work of art. You're not paying for, it's not a Walmart baby doll. You're paying an artist for their time, and they wouldn't want to do anything that they didn't get paid for their time. And as a reborn artist, as much time as you put in a doll, if you took how many hours that you painted and rooted and all that, and then took the price of the doll and divided it out, it probably wouldn't be that great of a salary. I'm just saying. Not to mention that sales are not consistent. So if you took the amount of dolls that you sold in a month's time and the amount of time it took you to work on those dolls and then divided it out into 40-hour weeks pay, like it would probably be less than minimum wage. Yes, Tanya has a Gianna by Kathy Biscuiti for sale. I shared her video on my wall, so you can go check out her video. She does have her for sale, and she is the girl version of George by Kathy Biscuiti. The Kylo that I used to have, it's the same sculpt, but it's a girl, and the sculpt name for the girl is Gianna. Nice size doll. And Nikki also has the girl version. She has London. So you can go check out London too, if you just wanted to get an idea of like how big she is. I like to see the same sculpt on different channels because it gives me an idea of like, because people will show them at different angles and holding them differently and changing them differently and handling them. So I like to do that when I'm thinking of getting a sculpt. Because like right now, I have just been looking at two silicone baby sculpts in particular, and I love the way that different people showcase them. Nicole said, now that I understand what goes into reborns, now that I understand what goes in the reborns, I'm also scared to handle mine. That's another reason I've learned manufactured or leaned. Can I read tonight? I've leaned manufactured authentic. Yeah, because you don't have to worry so much about messing up a paint job. You don't have to worry about pulling out hair accidentally or whatever. I missed what Dottie said. Oh, Tanya, I am. I may have a way for me to get her. Oh, she's saying she's still interested. Tanya said, I will miss her and I love her, but I got to do what I got to do. Yeah, adulting sucks sometimes. And then when you do get ready to sell a doll, it's really scary because of the same reason I was just talking about. Like, you feel like you're going to get scammed. Like, you feel like people are going to get your beautiful doll and then find a bunch of stuff wrong with it or say this is wrong and that's wrong and then contact PayPal and get their money back somehow, and then you're stuck with, you don't even have the doll back, and PayPal forces you to give the money back. Like, your PayPal will go into the negative. So, there's some people that have done that, and that's caused some discord in the community, I feel like. Nikki said, yes, that's me. I love to see the doll I'm interested in different ways. Me too. I like to see them in different skin tones, different lighting, different times of day. I like to see them showcased, like, just maybe in a changing video. Also, if I can, I like to try to find like role play videos with them because I'm a role player. So I don't do as many as I used to. And I don't know why I don't, because I still enjoy them. I just don't do as many. Alex said, wouldn't it be fun to rent just to play with them for a while? I know that is a liability, but so fun. I mean, yeah, it could be something that it is a liability, like you said, but yeah, you could do that if you knew the person that you were renting it to would actually, like, if they say they rented it for a month, if they actually sent the doll back, you know, or if, you had uh, another renter, it could go on to the next person that was scheduled or whatever. I mean, that would be, it's a fun concept, but it would have to, it would only work if the people who were renting the doll would follow everything. Hey, y'all, don't forget to hit the like button when you log on. That helps my video to be seen. And y'all, my favorite color is purple. So who wants to give me some purple hearts in the chat? I'm going to get Angelica, as I'm calling her, and I'm going to get her up here close for people to see. Alex said it's not letting me like anything. Huh, that's weird. I don't know why. Purple hearts. I'm loving all these purple hearts. Oh, I got another like. There she is. There's her beautiful face. A close-up of her face. She is gorgeous. And she has these really pretty icy blue eyes. And her hair is beautifully done. I love the waves. But yeah, she is still here visiting and she is still for sale. Say, I'm still looking for my forever mommy. How are they liking the page? It's just the like button on the video. You just hit the like button on the live video. Yeah, she is really cute. Nicole said, rent a baby. I love it. Tanya said, sorry, I'm quiet. I'm rooting. That's okay. Angela said, aw, she has beautiful eyes. She does. I love her eye color. And I named her Angelica because she just looks so angelic. And Zeke decided to like lay down on my camera and scoot y'all forward. Nikki said, hit the 3 dots in the right upper hand corner if you can't see the like button. But yeah, I have seen posts where things get listed and, you know, it'll kind of come across as like, I don't know. It just kind of comes across like pushy. It'll be like all capital letters, no holds, no trades, no, you know, and it's like, no time wasters. And, you know, it's kind of like the way it's worded. It's like, but there, and then it'll say no time wasters, but then there won't be a price. So is it a waste of someone's time if they just ask you how much it is and then when you tell them it's too much and they bow out? And when I say too much, I don't mean too much for the doll, but just too much for the person that's looking to buy. Like maybe they weren't looking to spend that much money. Like, and then, you know, I feel like, you know, we've got scammer groups and all that, which are good because it is good to get the word out there when you have someone who's scamming. But sometimes I feel like people use those scammer groups when they get mad at someone. And then they get on there and this person's a scammer and they did this and they said that to me. And sometimes I feel like I see a lot of that. Now, I have noticed that some of the scammer groups are like, we don't accept drama. And if you don't have screenshots or proof to back up what you're saying, you can't just come on here and make a status calling somebody out. So I've appreciated that they have changed that rule because there used to be so much of just crap talking going on. And I'm like, okay, that's, he said, she said, because it's hearsay because you're just saying what happened. You're not showing anything that happened. Dottie said, I have a masterpiece I would sell or trade, but I'm scared to deal with someone. Yeah, if you get on the masterpiece groups, other than that one lady who is now kicked out of most of the groups, and I don't mind saying her name because she didn't mind scamming me. I literally had to wait for PayPal to give me my money back because she put the same doll that I had already paid for up for sale again when she hadn't even refunded me any money. She was trying to sell the same doll twice. I had screenshots of all of it. And she had blocked me at that point. But there were people that I knew that could see what she was doing. And they were like, she has this doll back up for sale. And so I sent all that to PayPal. And of course, they sided with me. But, you know, you have to wait for them to go through all of that red tape and ordeal. You have to wait it out. And then if she doesn't rectify the situation, then they, you know, they'll rule in your favor. It's just having to wait. Nicole said, all that harsh wording doesn't exactly deter time wasters or potential scammers. They will do it anyway if they're going to. Yeah, but what it will deter is potential buyers. Like, I feel like we can be thorough with our post without being in someone's face, you know, like list the doll. And if you don't want to put the price, say message me for price, but don't get upset if they message you and you tell them the price and they're like, okay, well, I was looking for something a little less costly. then you just say, okay, thank you. You know, they're not a time waster. But I can also understand if you send picture after picture after picture and a video and this and that when you've already got this really nice long explanation in your for sale post, and then they say, okay, I'm not interested. Or if you hold it all for a week or two or whatever, and the person keeps saying, you know, oh, I'll have some money this day or that day, and then that day comes and they don't have it, and then, you know, and I can understand you being upset about that, but that does not make that person a scammer. And I've seen people go on groups and call that person a scammer because they ended up not being able to have the money to buy the doll. So the best thing to do, if you don't want to do that for someone, just say, you know, if you're willing to do, say what you're willing to do. If you're willing to do a short payment plan, if you're willing to split it up in 3 segments, or if you're willing to do a 3 month layaway, or if you'll take half now and half in 2 weeks, say that. Like, put that in the post from the very beginning, and then you won't get so many messages from people who know they can't get it. But my opinion is if you're posting it for a private for sale group with other reborn people, I don't see a problem with posting the price. I understand if it's public and other people's going to see it, and you know, and they're like, people don't want other people to know what they paid. But I just feel like if you know the price from the beginning and you say, okay, I have X amount of dollars, but this is for sale for X amount of dollars, and I don't have that much, then you can just scroll past that post because you already know what the price is. You know, I just feel like maybe thorough posts would probably stop a lot of that. Um, and like as far as like all the scams and stuff that goes on, I mean, you've also got these companies that will steal pictures of real babies. They will steal pictures of prototype silicones and all this stuff and put it on there and say, for sale this weekend, $69.95 at babycradle.com or whatever. I'm just making something up there. I don't know that that's even real. A real website. Don't go to it. But, you know, I mean, they do that, and then the people will be like, oh my gosh, I can get this beautiful baby for $69. And then they pay that money and they receive nothing. Or they get like a little plastic doll or something if they get anything. And then they're upset because they got scammed. And I feel like it really just makes everybody just kind of, um, it gets people worked up in a tizzy sometimes that I feel like wouldn't happen if it weren't for that. Dottie said, I traded my authentic pickle for a Levi. The girl got my pickle first. When I got hers, before speaking, saying, okay, I'm not happy with this trade, she painted hair on my beautiful pickle. Oh my gosh. Nikki said, oh my Dottie, I'm so sorry about that. And Dottie said, she never told or showed me the Levi's flaws. He was orange and he had dye transfer on his ears. I was peed off. And then Nicole said, yes, pricing up front. 99% of reborns are too much for me to pay. If I don't see the price, I assume I can't buy and I don't inquire. Yes, and that deters potential buyers. Once again, it deters them if the wording seems in your face, and it also deters them if you don't put a price because you're afraid that someone's going to get upset with you for asking for the price and saying, well, you're wasting my time. But I mean, you've got how else are you supposed to know what the doll costs? Because it, you know, I've this one person got really upset and they were like, well, they didn't have the money to buy the doll in the first place. And I'm like, yeah, but they didn't know that if they had the money until you told them the price. Like, they were trying to accuse the person of not having any money at all. And I'm like, that doesn't mean they don't have any money at all. It just means they don't have enough for that doll. So they declined on the doll because they didn't have enough. Alex said, whoa, poor thing. Dottie said, yes, Nikki, I was upset. I would be too, because she didn't disclose everything. And I guess that goes back to no matter who it is, and we should be, because I'm very upfront with anything. I send up close videos, up close photos, and of course I have tons of videos of my dolls, on my YouTube. But that's the one thing I do. Even if it's someone I've known for years, they deserve the same courtesy as someone that I don't know. I'm going to show them everything about the doll. And so I would expect the same without hurt feelings, like, because it doesn't hurt my feelings if someone says, hey, I would like to see close up video of the doll outside in the daylight. And I want to see fingertips and toe pads and all that. I would be like, okay, because I want them to see the doll in every way possible so that they know what they're getting. And if I did have a doll that had a paint rub or something like that, I'm going to disclose that from the very beginning. So I guess to avoid that, start asking people, Dottie, if you consider a trade again. I wouldn't. But if you do consider a trade or something like that, I would just say, these are my conditions for trading, and I would list them. And my conditions would be, I want close up videos, I want close up pictures. I want you to video chat me through Messenger on Facebook and let me see the doll in real time. If you do those things, you're less likely to have happen what you had happened. Dottie said, but I let her know I would never trade with her again. And I'm making a video. I make videos and pictures and show YouTube videos too. Alex said, transparency is so important. Exactly, because we handle our dolls, and sometimes they're not going to be perfect, but it's not that big of a deal if someone knows ahead of time. If you say, hey, there's like a little tiny paint rub here on the thumb, it's right here, and you take pictures and you show it, and that person looks at it, and you just say, I have it priced accordingly because of this. It just needs a touch up, you know. And a lot of times people know how to touch that up themselves. Like, you may be selling to somebody that's like, oh, no problem, I can fix that myself. And they're not worried about it. But if you don't tell someone and you present it as a perfect condition doll and it's not in perfect condition, that causes issues. And then people take to YouTube and they make videos and they get in the scammer group and, and they say all these things. And I'm like, save the scammer groups for the actual scams. Because to me, a disagreement and a scam is not the same. They are not the same. So, like, if someone, or a misrepresentation is not a scam. Like, that's my opinion only. My opinion and my opinion only. You know what they say about opinions. Everybody has one. But, like, a misrepresentation would be like, I presented a certain doll as perfect with no flaws, and then you got it and it had a scratch on it. It's not a scam, but it's a misrepresentation. You see what I'm saying? A scam to me is like, you bought something and you didn't receive it at all. Period. Nothing. Or you bought this brush. Here we go. You bought this brush, but I sent you this remote. That's a scam. You paid for something and I didn't even give you something that you were even paying for. So, like, when these people, they go out and they buy these beautiful prototype looking reborns for $69, something has to tell them in the back of their mind, this is not right. Because that is the one thing that's going to save anybody. Look at the current prices for these dolls. Go on places like reborns.com. Join the reborn groups, the buy, sell, and trade groups, the legitimate ones, and not the fake ones that are out there that are scamming people. Because there's actually fake buy and sell silicone groups and stuff, and it's people on there trying to sell dolls they don't have. So you got to be careful about that too. Ask around in the reborn community and say, hey, do you know these people in this group? Is this legit? Because people who have been around in the community for a while are going to know. They're going to be like, no, stay away from that. That is not the real deal. But join the groups. Look at prices, because if you're seeing these beautiful dolls in this group, and and their cost is 2 grand, and then you see a beautiful doll of the same caliber, full body silicone for $69, you've got to know that that is not legit. Nikki said, we take a gamble buying these dolls, but loving them is rewarding. But if something goes wrong, it's a hard fall. Yeah, it is. And it's like sometimes it'll make you sick to your stomach because of the amount of money that you spend. And you just want what you're paying for, but at the same time, you have to pay for what you want, if that makes sense. If you want a beautiful full body silicone, you can't pay $69 and get one. So you want what you pay for, but you also have to pay for what you want. I hope that makes sense. But anyways, I think uh I'm just kind of putting this out there because I want to get people's attention. It's Christmas time, you know, all of those scammers are out there trying to take people's money for a quick buck. There was a lady on Facebook just the other day that shared this picture, and I don't mean this to sound judgmental, but it was obvious to me that it was a real baby. It was a real baby in the photos. And I was like, how can you not say that's a real baby? But at the same time I was like, okay, I'm trying not to judge. But she posted it and said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm getting this doll." And she paid $200 for what was supposed to be a full body silicone baby girl. And it was pictures of somebody's real baby girl that someone had stolen and used, the scammers had used. And she had downloaded all these pictures. And, I felt really bad for her. And at the same time, I was like, okay, that looks like a real kid. And also, you're not going to get, and if it was a full body silicone baby that looked that realistic, you're not going to get it for $200. Like, that is your biggest red flag right there. And I did feel bad, and people were telling her, "Oh, that's a red flag right there." She doesn't even know what she's going to get, and she said she would keep everybody updated to see what she received, or if she would even receive anything. And so I'm like, well, you may get something, but it's not going to be that real baby. Nicole said, the Dolly world has become as crazy as the rest of the world. Anyone have any good selling experiences lately? I'm getting genuinely worried about helping my friend sell. With good reason, Nicole. That's definitely something to be concerned about. I mean, I just recently had a good sale. I sold my OB11s to Sandra Marcello, who's on here, Sandy Dolly. Um, you, I would say the best bet would be to vet whoever is inquiring about the dolls. If they're not willing to give you references, then I would be extra cautious, because anyone who is a reputable buyer and seller will have no problem giving you references. And sometimes you can get in some of the scammer groups and you can, and I hate doing that because that puts the person on the spot. But if you don't know them, you can just be like, hey, just wondering if anybody has had any dealings with this person, if so, can you let me know? Was it a good or bad experience or whatever? That is an option. Although I personally don't like that because, like I said, it puts that person's name out there. if they haven't even done anything, and then if it's in a scammer group, it makes it look like, well, what have they done? Even though you're not saying they've done something, you're just asking. But yeah, I would definitely vet them. I would ask them for references. And if they have bought and sold in the reborn community at all, they should have at least one reference. They should have at least one person that can vouch for them, at the very least. Vicky said, when I found about these dolls, I was instantly smitten. When I priced them, I was in shock, but thought, look at that detail. It's worth it. Exactly. You pay for what you get. Like I said, as I mentioned before, when the artists are putting all this time into this, and if they like sat down and calculated everything out, like all of their time, all of their supplies, everything that they put into it, the hours, the skill set, because you have to have skill, and some people take classes that they pay for to learn to paint. So I mean, like you've got your skill set, you've got your time that it took you to learn that skill set. Then once you learn the skill set, it's the time it takes you to complete a doll. It's also an ongoing learning process because it's an art form, and art constantly changes. People's uh what they want out of the art changes, techniques change, supplies change. Like, our world got turned upside down when Genesis closed. So here was everybody trying to come up with a new heat set paint. So I mean, when you think about all that, like I said, if you equaled everything out, like calculated everything out, some of these artists are getting paid way less than minimum wage. Angela says, or someone messages you with a picture of your baby demanding you sell or trade her. I reported them because that was really strange. I don't blame you. I would just hit block. I would be like, no, thank you, block button. And then I would warn other people with a screenshot of what was said, because people like that deserve to be called out. I I'm not a person that likes to air a lot of stuff like that, but I mean, if they're doing that kind of stuff, people need to be warned. Nicole said, "Thank you, Penny. I haven't sold in years. Glad there's just one baby, and I'll be praying over him." Yeah, that would be good. Get some divine intervention going on that. But yeah, I would advise your friend to take lots of clear videos and pictures of the dolls in all angles, all lights. Take close up pictures of the rooting, close up pictures of the hands, the toes, the fingernails, the toenails, and just so that she has video proof, and mention in the video or have something in the video showing the date. Like, this is me recording this video on this month, this date. This is the condition of this doll. And I am packing this doll to send to so and so. So, I mean, because when you've got it right there on video, it helps out a lot, because if they start trying to come at you sideways and say, well, I received this doll and the hair was coming out, and this, you could be like, no, 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 no. This is the video I did packing this doll. These are all of the pictures and video I took of close-ups of this doll's rooting and this and that. And that way, you may not have to use it, but you've got it there. And that will, if they do try to do a chargeback through PayPal, PayPal's going to be like, sorry, they've got video and picture proof of how you received everything, of how they sent everything. And if that's the case, and it gets damaged in transit, okay, show me the proof. We'll file an insurance report. That's why never, ever, ever sell a doll and ship it without insurance on it. So be sure and tell her that also. Insure the doll. I mean, it's literally dollars per 100. So it's well worth it. And that's included in the shipping price. So the buyer will be paying for that. Like, you can, whatever you tell them this is what I'm charging for shipping, have them pay the shipping. So, I mean, I don't have a problem doing that as a buyer. I would gladly pay for the insurance to know that my doll is insured. And so when it gets to me, if something is wrong, then I can speak to the seller and say, hey, we need to file a claim on this because this box arrived crumpled and the doll was damaged or whatever. But in today's time, I would do all of those things. References, video, picture, insurance, everything. And I would do everything in messages as well instead of like a phone call. Except for like if they want a video chat, like because I asked for video chats to see the doll in real time. Of course, you can't, that's not going to be a text, but you're just showing them the doll, like proof that you have it. And here's what the doll looks like. I have it right here, right now in my possession, and it looks this way right now in this moment. But as far as like any type of verbal transactions, have it all in text because that's going to make a huge difference too if something goes wrong. Nikki said, only issue I've had was my Adele sculpt got lost in customs. Nerve-wracking for over a month and a half. I remember that. And then when you got her, she had like some little markings on her fingers. And she could tell like Nikki's box had been opened when it went through customs and they didn't put everything back in there because the artist was saying she sent this and that and it wasn't there. So like some of her stuff was even gone. And it was like clothes that we don't have over here. Didn't you say you got her from Russia, Nikki? And she had sent like a lot of things that was like available in Russia but not here. She said, yes, it was a hassle that deterred me from buying overseas. I mean, I can see why. It's scary. Because you see this doll, you fall in love with it, you want it in your collection, and then you're like me. We sit and we stew on it for a while to make sure, hey, is this really what I want to do? And then once we're ready to make that plunge, we've already thought it through, we've planned it out, and when we actually do it, it may seem impulsive. And I'm not saying sometimes I'm not impulsive because sometimes I will be impulsive when it comes to buying things. But most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, there's that 1% where I'll see something and I'll be like, I want it. And then I'm like, I don't really like this. And then I just resell it. So it's not that big of a deal. But when you see me buy something, even though it may seem like a quick buy, believe you me, I've thought it through for months. At least weeks, but maybe even months before I actually did it. And I've probably watched a million videos on it. Nikki said she just showed up one day, no tracking or nothing. I remember that. Nikki calls me and she was like, or I don't know, I can't remember if you called me or texted me, but I've slept since then. But you communicated with me some kind of way and said, oh my gosh, my doll just showed up randomly. Like the mail guy just drops the box off and she goes outside and there's a box on her porch with the tape that's got like the Russian mail tape on it. Yeah, it is awful. Alex said that's awful. It is, especially when you've waited all that time. But those marks on her fingers, I've probably said this to you before, but you can probably get it off with that Oxy 10 acne cream. It's pretty good at removing marks like that. You do have to let it stay on there for a while, and everyone that I've seen use it has suggested that you put it in some type of light. Like maybe you could like put her hand in the window. Yeah, you were like, it's a Russian box. I was like, well, that's got to be her. But I guess we as collectors can try our best to not let the scams and things like that like ruin the hobby for us because it can be easily done. Like you can get so frustrated and disgusted with it that you're just, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just so done with everything. Because I've been there. I've been there and done that. I mean, I actually sold all of my reborns and stuff there for several months. It was like 7 or 8 months, however long it was. And then I decided to get back into the reborns. And then after I got back into the reborns, I decided to only have um, certain types. And of course, I'm going to do silicone as well. So Nikki said, I'll have to try that. Yeah, I've heard other people say they have success with it, like with ink and everything else. So it could possibly work. Well, I am going to go check my baked potatoes. My husband's getting in late. So I thought, well, that's bacon. So I'm not opening the oven door every 5 minutes and squeezing the potatoes to see if they're soft. I'll do a live video and talk about this topic because, I feel like it's a good thing to talk about, especially this time of year when scams and things can kind of run rampant. Nicole said there's so much more to this hobby than buying and selling, though. I've never enjoyed my collection more, and I'm not adding to it right now. I know there will be moments when I don't even think about buying and selling anything, and I'm happy. And then there's times where I'm like, okay, like I mean, y'all know this. I've done this several times over my years of collecting. I'll sell almost every doll I have and start over from scratch. It's just, I do that to just keep it fresh. Alex said, I box mine up, see if I can part with it. And if I can, then I find it a home. Right. That's a great way to do it. Nikki said, I have a hard time parting with mine, Alex. I haven't sold not one. Yeah, she still has every one of hers, all the way back to her very first reborn. If I kept all of my dolls, I'd have like 50 dolls right now. I'm pretty sure. I'd probably have like 40 or 50 dolls. And I don't know where I would put all that. Well, all right, ladies, I'm going to get off of here. Remember, um, if you think about it, go to my wall and find this girl's for sale post and share it so we can get her out there and maybe she can find her forever mommy because she is up for a good price. That's $500, including shipping through UPS because we do not trust the USPS. The USPS is horrible these days, especially this time of year. Um, my friend Christy, the one that I show on my channel all the time, and Nikki, you know her, she actually had a doll that came up missing around Christmas, and she never even got it, and it was a sold out limited edition reborn. And it disappeared once it got to Memphis. So, yeah. Somebody was like, oh, Merry Christmas to my kid, not realizing, that she's buying a sold out limited or stealing a sold out limited edition work of art. Yeah, all great suggestions. Everything that y'all are suggesting is great suggestions. Well, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I'm gonna go check my potatoes and I'm gonna put our steaks on because we're having steak and baked potato. So I got my butcher box in today. By the way, I highly recommend Butcher Box. It's grass-fed, grass-finished beef and chicken. No hormones, no antibiotics, and no, I'm not sponsored by them. I just highly recommend them. But y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.